Hey guys, welcome back to the Community Cares Podcast. I'm Dave. I'm the Executive Director here at Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet.
And I'm Chaplain Chaz Blackburn. I have the honor of being the president of Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. And we have a really cool guest on today, someone I really actually enjoy talking with. I met this guy, my president from another organization and myself were going around to restaurants. And we happened to stop into... what it used to be?
Mellow Fellow.
Mellow Fellow, the amazing Mellow Fellow by the Aces Stadium. And we're like, is your owner here or manager? And then this cool guy walks out and we're like, hey, we're trying to, figure out a partnership for our nonprofit. And one thing I was super encouraged about is you were like, yeah, let's do something, man, to give back and to be able to get the word out. And then you guys relocated and now you're doing great stuff partnering with nonprofits. And so I want you to introduce yourself, but thank you for all you're doing for the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Chaz said, formerly Mellow Fellow, we're currently MF International. I'm Ryan Eller. I've been the, founder of from the beginning of Mellow Fellow, and then I have a new partner, Jason Dunmeyers, my chef and partner, who's just an absolute wizard in the kitchen. So yeah, it's been kind of a fun new track for us to really focus on food. Mellow Fellow was more beer related, for the folks who were out during that. But the food focus has been great, and I think the community piece has been something that we started even at the very beginning. When we our first location in Kings Beach in Tahoe, every Wednesday we used to host a different nonprofit. It was Nonprofit Wednesday. We'd bring in every week a different local group and raise some money for them. And so it's a great way for us to be more than just a restaurant in the community. And I think as we talk here more, it's that's really been our focus is how can we deliver a great product, but how can we do more?
He's the OG MFer.
Right. Right. That definitely gets played quite a bit, right? Well, and it's like
Mellow Fellow. Come on,
Jazz.
Mellow Fellow.
I'm gonna tell your daughter.
Well, it was like
that's what they're called.
The kids menu at the last location was called for the little MFers, right? So we definitely knew.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna dive into our sponsorship segment. We are so thankful for our sponsors.
Oh wait, you're gonna want to tune into the rest of the show because something really cool just happened to Ryan and his organization, his restaurant, and we're not going to tell you till a little bit later. So now we're going to check out the sponsors.
Our first sponsor is Shelley's Hardware. Shelley's Hardware is a small local retail location here in Sparks. They give you that, or not give you, you could purchase a bolt or a leaf blower.
Or anything. Yeah, they got cool shirts. Did you know that used to be an airplane hanger back in the day?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, seriously.
That's
so they got
crazy.
these cool shirts that says Shelley's Hardware. Almost just said Aces, but Shelley's Hardware. And they got a little airplanes on it. They got cool swag, all sorts of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, they are a great partner. We really appreciate them. We're going to be doing a huge event with them, which we will announce very soon. But they are great people, and they really care about the community. And I love how you can go in there. You can have some free popcorn and get a drill that's local. It's local. Yeah. You can buy it local and support local people in your community rather than going to big box retailers.
That event's going to rock.
It's going to rock. Absolutely. Our next sponsor is Spherion. Spherion is a staffing company here in Reno Sparks. They help fill your staffing needs. If you need a new, I don't know, who do you hire, Chaz?
Oh, you're going to get me in trouble. I mean, I don't know. Whoever's the most qualified is the right answer.
Oh, there you go. Well, if you need that most qualified person, Spherion Staffing is the place to get that staff position filled. Or if you're looking for a position, they are the people to go to. We really appreciate Brian. Brian, thank you so much for being a supporter. I know you listen. He's listen to the show.
He's a cool guy.
So thank you guys for being that local staffing agency and for supporting the Community Cares Podcast. And the last sponsor we're going to mention is Relentless Business Mastery. They focus on SEO and website design and all sorts of other things. And they are local. The owner is a very great guy, cares about the community, cares about those that need help. And he even supports us personally too. One day, we had a fundraiser here and a bunch of chairs needed to be stacked. And the owner of Relentless Business Mastery said, hey, can I help? Can I help stack up chairs? I said, absolutely. Thank you.
That was pretty cool. Huh?
But why I like to mention that is because these businesses are small and they're local and they care about the community and they sponsor Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. And that matters so much. It means so much to us as a small nonprofit here in Reno Sparks.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to support local, especially when local businesses are supporting nonprofits to care for the community. We want to keep it local. And so definitely support local. I know sometimes I forget, like going to Home Depot or Lowe's, that Shelley's Hardware is right there.
Right.
So if you can, please support them. And thank you guys for really driving awareness for our nonprofits and resources and our organization. Now, to our guest, I had to laugh. There was this review about your guy, because you guys have amazing food. And I'm sure you'll cover some of the concepts again more in detail. But you guys do international burritos in different styles and bowls. And one of the reviews had said, I was really disappointed. There was only tortillas, and there was no no buns or no
the
bread.
sandwich review.
Like it's international burrito place.
It was. I came in and I was trying to get the sandwich, but all the sandwiches were wrapped in tortillas, which made me think of Mexican. And so the review, and we were like, we don't even understand. So we ended up doing a video on that on Instagram, where the chef was reading the review, and it's one of those like, we have no sandwiches. Please, if you want a sandwich, we are not your sandwich.
You missed
option,
it. Respectfully,
right?
God bless that person, but you missed it. When you walk in, you see all the neat international places. Anyways, it's really great food, and I really enjoy the food there. And your chef's amazing too. So tell us more about the concept and dive into that.
So, tying it in a little bit to the original Mellow Fellow, we were trying to do more uplifted food there than a traditional, beer bar, sports bar, whatever it may be, but our location right next to the Aces was very limiting as it related to, how quick we had to get food out, how much we had to get out, and then, what the people really wanted. And you ended up with a lot of people going to games who just wanted a burger, they wanted a chicken sandwich, they wanted something quick and fast, and, you're on a clock. It's, I got 15 minutes before the game starts. And so, Jason had been making amazing food for years, but it was all coming through in these specials and, really neat things that weren't like a 5-minute cook, So what do? Well, we ended up having to do a game day menu that basically cut out all of the stuff that we really loved making, just to be able to support the audience that we had.
That's tough.
And then, as that location, downtown just was rough, right? Winters were dark. There wasn't much going on, so all in all, after 10 years down there, we finally said, okay, we got to call it here because we're not making the impact for ourselves or for the community.
And with the quality of food, you guys have amazing food. I really mean that. Even back at Mellow Fellows, I was like blown away how good the burgers were. Everything was so creative. And so I'm so glad that you guys started a new concept and relocated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, what we kind of said was, let's take all these great ideas that we had over the years and let's figure out how we can make specials 100% of the time. And so the concept came together as, one, how can we make something that fits today's market a little bit better? And, a lot of stuff today is grab and go. A lot of it's delivery. And the food we were making was, taking a while. It was a sit down, you'd be at dinner for an hour. And how many times do you have time to spend an hour after work? You go home, pick up your kids, drive, you're not doing that, right? It's you're either going to get something quick on the way or whatever. So, we wanted something that kind of fit all those boxes, right? So, we wanted to remain a scratch kitchen. That's, first and foremost, and especially, from Jason's perspective, it's, we're making our food. We don't get anything that just goes into the freezer, comes out, goes into the fryer. In fact, I think the only thing we fry in there is, we have some tofu and we do our own tortilla strips, that are little crunchies on the salads.
You're speaking to a vegan over there. He's
not a vegan, vegetarian.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Same thing.
But that being said, that was one of the things too, because, sitting there, people, it's like, oh, we got this great burger. Well, how can I get that vegetarian? Well, and it's like, okay, well, most restaurants you go to, and it's like, I'll just take the meat off. And it's like, well, that doesn't really count, man. You still need your protein. Like, there needs to be some kind of thought out process for this. And
tastes good.
Absolutely. And gluten free, same thing. So we kind of rolled all that together in this concept and said, okay, what are we good at? And what Jason is really good at is bringing flavors and experiences to life, right? So when you look at the food side, it's not just a bite that you're taking of this food. It's taking you somewhere. At least that's the intention, right? Where we have right now, I think 15 or 16 different countries represented, cool. And you can get everything as a burrito, a bowl, or a salad. And if you want to swap out protein, we've got a vegan pea protein we make, in-house. We have the crispy tofu, and then we have gluten-free tortillas, which are good enough that we actually use them on 3 or 4 of our burritos as they stand, right? And then of course, if you want to skip all that, you can go for the bowl or you can go for the salad option, right? So, we've kind of tried to make it so that anybody can find something there, right? Our original kind of joke was like, okay, you got your family of 5 in a minivan, and is going to dinner. It's like, what does everybody want? Well, I want a burger. I want Chinese. I want chicken. I want Chinese. Whatever it is, right? Everybody's kind of got their thing, and so somebody's going to lose in that equation.
Right.
Most of the places you go. Well, not with us, right? You bring people down. It's like, oh, you can get your gyro. You can get your burger wrapped in a burrito. You can get your Korean in a burrito. Whatever, right? So all those flavor profiles coming together in one spot and giving people an opportunity, to try things that are maybe outside of their normal box. Are you going to go into a fully, baked Korean restaurant where that's all you're going to get? Maybe that's going to turn some people off, and it's hard to get that group in. Versus, I kind of want to try that. We can be that gateway for you.
Well, and I wouldn't even call it a gateway, because I feel like what you guys do is so it is specialized, because I don't want to make it sound like you guys are just like a throwaway whatever.
Yeah.
You guys just have random stuff on your menu. There's a method.
There
to
is
what you guys
all
do.
the time.
Oh, there's
and
a story.
I see it.
Even the name, like you go in and it's
love
like,
that.
it's hard for us in the front of house because all the sauces and everything has like very interesting names, right? But at the same time, like when you talk to Jason and you get the story behind, why is this sauce called this? Well, it's based on this, and it includes
Bingo.
this, and it's from this country,
Yes.
and you tie all those things together, and that's why it's the hooligan sauce,
Right,
or that,
and it's-
whatever it may be.
Yeah, it's not madness. There's method to it for
And
sure.
his ingredients are super fresh. Like, he's very particular, I've noticed, about the kinds of ingredients.
Well, and everything
you guys
everything
use,
comes in fresh. I mean, it's like, we're vegetables are, everything's whole foods coming in,
Right.
And that's, one of the things that I guess I can talk about it,
Yeah.
so we ended up making the TV show Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, which was wild because we were basically like just out of our previous location.
You didn't even have a sign on the door. Seriously.
Yeah, we hadn't even, we
crazy.
were technically still there, but we knew we weren't going to be there by the end of baseball season, right? And so we get this email saying, hey, you've been nominated to be on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And it's like,
Dude.
oh my God, man, are you serious? So
Yeah.
we had this concept baked, and so it was like, okay, let's put together, full recipes for what we need to do. Jason and he built out the menu. I put together like a 2-page letter of like, this is why I think our story is meaningful. This is why we're moving. This is why I think this could be impactful for other people around the country. And, that got us the phone call, and the phone call got us the show. So, we had,
Congrats.
we'd moved and we filmed the show September 15th or 13th and 15th after opening September 11th.
Wow.
And then the show just aired actually March 27th was our air date. So season 54, episode 9, Funkalicious, if anybody wants to check it out. But, but that was just such a cool experience, and to have Guy in there, people, oh, what's Guy like, da, da, da. And he was great, and you always wonder, at least I always wonder, well, do they really like that food? Like, what's going on with this, right? And so he ended up, he had his family, he came down, his wife actually co-hosted. This is the first ever episode she co-hosted with him, was our location.
That's so cool. Man.
And so he had like his godsons and some buddies. He's from, I think, Chico or somewhere in that area, and so he's got some friends in Portola. So he had like some of his crew down, and it's like, okay, after he finished trying the Akeem the Dream, which was one of the 2 that he featured there, he takes a bite, puts it down, and every scene you'd kind of like walk out and then come back in to start the next scene deal. And he grabbed that dish and he walked out, and I was standing there behind the cameras, and he goes to his crew, he's like, guys, get over here, this is effing delicious.
That's awesome.
So I'm like, okay, he liked it, like that was actually that was reaffirming at that point. So it's a weird stage for us because here we are as this like new business, but in a way
so
we're not
cool.
new, but we are new. And so trying to get people comfortable with our new location, the new format, the new flavors, I think that's really that show's really going to be good for us in the long run, as far as like putting us out there as a place that's doing interesting stuff. And the original point was, to get on that show, you have to be a scratch kitchen, right? You have to have a process that matters, and you have to like be able to show that what you're doing is exceptional from a culinary perspective. And so, Jason, from that end, looking at the banh mi, for example, that was the other item they featured on there, is as a duck banh mi, which is a little bit of a twist, especially when it's wrapped in a burrito. But he starts with a whole duck. So we're not bringing in just duck breast. We're not, he starts with the whole duck. And so if you watch the show, you'll see you break down the entire duck. He roasts off the bones. The bones make the au jus. The jus turns into duck noodle soup.
That's crazy.
The fat turns into, he renders that and confits the duck breast to make it super
Making
tender.
me hungry, man.
Well, yeah, man. Well, we're closed today, so tomorrow we can go, right? But so that was really kind of neat to be able to showcase, and I think that's what a lot of people maybe don't even understand from the outside looking in is like because we seem like a chain, which is weird, I mean, we people came in, and I guess I take it as a compliment because those guys pay a lot of money to have people design and lay out their restaurants, and people walk in, it's like, oh, where's this from? This must be
beautiful.
a chain.
It is really beautiful. Yeah.
No, it's not a chain. This is just us, man. This literally, it's just a couple of guys, and then we've got an awesome sous chef in the kitchen with Jason, who's Angie, and she just rocks it back there. And so Eddie up front, and we've got a bigger crew now that we're kind of growing and starting to like put more staff on. But
awesome.
At the end of the day, like we're trying to marry that like counter service, but still quality service, right? Because I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I walk into a lot of these places, and you walk in, and it's like deer in the headlights.
Oh, for sure.
You look at the person at the counter, and they're not talking to you, and they're just staring at you, and it's like,
that's not
what am I supposed to do here? Right? And so, we really want to kind of deliver that hybrid experience to the best of our ability, where you're able to get quality food made from scratch, but it's fast, with good service at the same time. So I hope we're checking a lot of those boxes.
I want to thank you for representing Reno. Or I guess Sparks now.
Yeah, Sparks.
We got a lot of Sparks people on this show that love Sparks, so I always give them a hard time.
Did you roll your eyes when you said that?
I did.
Love Sparks.
I'll be honest, I love Sparks, man. This was great.
I
grew up with Sparks. What is your handle on Instagram, Dave?
I don't know.
Yeah, Dave Reno, right? Is that what
it's been so long?
Okay. No, but I really appreciate like you supporting nonprofits and just the quality of your food. It's super just creative. You guys still have the passport?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, passports are cool. So if you're into trying everything, we've got a little passport book that we can give you where you get a stamp every time you try something.
So cool.
You work your way down the list. Once you fill it all out, you get your picture on the wall, and then we're going to have events for the people who've completed it where we'll taste new flavors and stuff like that. Because I mean it's an investment for sure. Trying to try 16 different, burrito options.
Can I do it as a vegetarian?
Yes, you can.
How can I do that?
You just substitute the pea protein or the tofu and anything you want. So absolutely every dish you can go. And that's the great thing is it doesn't change the flavor. The flavors are popping from the vegetables. The flavors are popping from the sauces and everything that goes in there. And I think, the one thing is like, look, I mean, everybody knows what a traditional Mexican, style burrito is. And there's a lot of great places making those around town. We don't want to jump into their game. Like that's, we do have a couple options from Mexico on the menu, but at the same time, we want to do things differently. And so what we put into the burrito is really like an entire plate of food. It's every piece that you need. It's the starch, it's the veggies, it's the protein, it's, and all original authentic flavors made, all of our sauces, they're made from scratch in house. We're not just, going and grabbing a thing of Heinz 57 ketchup and here you go, this is what you get on the side, right? It's real stuff. So I think that's really been, kind of cool to see more and more people gravitate towards that, where it's like, oh my gosh, because originally, I mean, I'll be honest, I was frustrated because everybody came in and wanted to order the chilango, which is, people love it, right? It's grilled chicken, rice, beans, cheese, Baja sauce, which is like a chipotle aioli, lettuce, tomato, I mean, it's a solid option, but it's like the most basic kind of Mexican style burrito. And it's like, oh my God, look up there and see all these other things. And so, but what ended up happening was that became the gateway burrito, right? So people would come in and halfway through eating burrito. They're looking at the board and they're like, oh, I'm coming back for that. I got to come back and try that, because it is a little overwhelming at the beginning, and I won't lie. I mean, it's a lot to take in, and so, highly recommend checking it out online before you come in if you want to review the menu. But at the same time, we'd mentioned like the burgers down at Old Melville. We did a special burger every month, and that always people would come in just to try that new burger, and so we're kind of back with that now. We have the burrito of the month. Right now, we're doing Lithuania, which if you've never
that looked cool.
If you've never had Lithuanian food, it's based on a cepelini, which is a Lithuanian style kind of dumpling-ish type thing, but really it's like loaded baked potato. Imagine that, right? All wrapped up into a burrito.
Man.
So
Dude, you're making me so hungry.
Yeah. Right? Well, that's the idea. I mean, hopefully when people watch this, it'll be dinner time for them.
Yes.
Right?
So that's right.
So you should be on the show regardless. You're interesting. You have a great story. What you've done is interesting. But to give that an additional reason why you're on the show, did you want to tell our viewers what you guys are going to do for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess maybe talking back just a little bit to why we're doing this and what we're doing, right? So, obviously the creativity on the food is there, right? I think the flavors are nailed and the product is the product. We stand behind it. We're happy with it, but when you look at every other restaurant, for the most part, that seems to be popping up in Sparks, Reno anymore, it's just another fried chicken chain. It's another burger chain. It's chain. And so, these are faceless companies that are coming to town. They're here for the money. I'm not dissing their products by any stretch, but at the same time, what are they doing for the people that live here, right? Yeah. And so, right at the beginning, one of the very first things we said is that we want to be more impactful in our community than just serving interesting, good food to people. And so we started a program where we feature a different nonprofit every single month, and Circle of Life was where Chaz was. We did them in January, but basically, we pick one of our burritos, which is the churrito of the month, the charity burrito.
I love that.
So
Churrito.
So we donate $1 for every one of those that we sell throughout the entire month to whatever that featured nonprofit is. So cool. Then we host a one-day event for them where we donate 25% of our total sales that day back to that organization. Awesome. And then finally, we wanted to get a little even more creative, and we said, well, what can we do for people that, especially on the nonprofit side, it's hard to engage your supporters all the time to show up at events and be here on this day. People have schedules. Well, how can we do this in a more passive way that can create some value for the customers and some value for the nonprofits? And so we're leveraging some couponing codes where basically, we've got all of our network of nonprofit partners where they have coupon codes they can share with their members, supporters, donors, whatever it may be. And if you use that code, whether you're buying in-store or online, you get 10% off your order. And then huge. At the end of the month, we cut back 10% of what you spent back to the nonprofit.
That's amazing, man.
So, that's been a really cool program. And so, meeting Dave, we were unfortunately full on our, our monthly partners all the way out until October of next year. I mean, it filled up really quick, which was great. But it's okay, well, this isn't awesome that we can't continue to support people along the way, so maybe we don't have to do the monthly thing, but we can still do something cool. So what we're doing with these guys is we're doing the one-day event. May 8th, I believe, is the date, and we're actually going to host this podcast at the location.
It's gonna be so cool.
Yeah,
let's go.
And we're gonna get Jason on so he gets to talk about the food. And he'll have so if you're in the mood and you're around town and you want to stop by, that'll be fun to see that live. But also we are going to donate 25% of all of our sales that day to these guys as well.
Thank you so much.
And then they've got a coupon code handy. Get Clothes, I think, is already live. Yeah. Dave will be sharing that out via their social media.
Man. Thank you.
But so this is a very easy way. I mean, you could be sitting at home watching TV, get on your phone, order delivery through our website, mf-int.com is where you can use that coupon code. But you can order delivery, put in the code, you get your savings, and you just supported a nonprofit while you're having dinner.
Boom.
That's awesome.
Boom.
Chef Jason has got a cool goatee too.
Oh yeah.
He's so cool. He's hilarious. Some of your guys' Facebook videos just crack me up, man.
Oh, we got one coming. I'm not gonna ruin it, but keep an eye this week because Jason is dressed up as you gotta watch. Right?
I love it.
The characters are starting to come out, and I think it's great because it's that's one thing that can separate local small businesses with real owners who give a crap from others is we want to be doing fun stuff too, right? I mean, everybody goes to work and it's like, oh man, how can I do something fun at work? And it's like sometimes work is work, but at the same time, how can we be more creative? How can we have some fun with what we're doing and tell a story?
Absolutely, that's what the podcast is all about.
Yeah,
it's fun for Chaz and I to get to know people in the community, get to know all these different people, and it's a creative outlet too, and it's also good for the nonprofit as well, and our friendship, Chaz. We've grown as friends over these last 2 years.
Have we? I feel like it's gotten a little worse. I love you, brother.
Oh, we passed the denouement. Huh?
but honestly, on behalf of everyone at Good Charms Clothes Closet, thank you so much for doing that for us.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and look, I mean, I think the other thing too is we tried to pick causes that were local, right? So there are some national branded nonprofits that we do work with, but they've got local chapters, right? And there's a guy that I can shake his hand, we can work together. And I think, as we grow, we're only 6 months or so into the business right now, hopefully we can just continue to do more, and, all these relationships, continue and can expand as we move down the road. And I mean, that's really, to me, like, I want to be able to have one of those things on the wall. You see some of those businesses with like the thermometer of, how many burgers they sold. Oh, I don't want the burgers sold. I want to see, how many Churritos have we sold, or how much money have we been able to give back to the community. Like, those are the numbers I want to be able to brag about someday, and so at this point, we're still in the growing the business, getting to where we need to be, and it is what it is. But, down the road, it's like, I want to be able to, like, that is what I want us to be known for, is, having a fantastic food experience and being able to support your community at the same time.
So there's a lot of, I'm just going to name a few: Boys and Girls Club, Reno Rodeo Foundation, correct? Circle Life Hospice Foundation, Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet. I mean, these are really quality.
Yeah, we did Eddie House in December.
Eddie House,
this month we're doing Spread the Word Nevada, which is children's literacy, and then we've got Rescue.
We got their box in the back.
And we've got Rescue coming up. We've got Keep Truckee Meadows Beautiful coming up. Step 2 Reno. I mean, you go down the list, and we've got a really fun calendar. Where whatever your cause is, we're trying to hit it somewhere throughout the year, right? And
so
and
if you support them, you support all them.
Absolutely, for sure. And also too, I mean, if you're out there and you're like, hey man, I've got a great cause, please reach out. Ryan at mf-int.com. Like, Dave walked into the restaurant one day, and this is how this evolved, right? So
Chaz made me.
Well, hey,
you said you wanted the quality nonprofits. I was like, Dave, go check this out. He was like, no, I don't know about this.
I don't know about this guy.
Get your butt in there. He's a cool guy.
Well, there you go. Well, Chaz walked into the restaurant one day, and then you got Dave to walk into the restaurant one day. So who else wants to walk into the restaurant one day?
Let's all walk in the restaurant. No, it's so. I love what you guys are doing. It's so creative, and it really is changing what eating out means. Yeah. Right? Because you can go get a beer and go to Atlantis or whoever else. I'm not trying to dog anyone. I like the Atlantis. I proposed my wife there. But there's something different about making a difference with just purchase, just a percentage. Yeah. Even that 10% get clothes coupon for Good Shepherd or whatever it is, that's what's going to, those little things make a big impact in this world. It really does.
Absolutely.
And so with Eddie House, they're one of our partners. We're very close with them.
Well, and Girl Scouts was another one, right? And so, just an example of how creative we could potentially get here is, they've got Girl Scout cookies, right? So we were like, oh, well, that's cool. We can do the month with you and all these things, but what if we use those Girl Scout cookies and made some food? And they're like, dude, well, what kind of food can you make with the Girl Scout cookies? And I'm like, well, we got some milkshakes. How about some Girl Scout cookie milkshakes? So we started those. We were doing them in February and March, where we're donating $1 per shake. We're mixing in, we've got 5 different flavors. I think we're running 2 at a time right now. But we've got the Thin Mint one and the Talofa going, which is the based on the Samoas.
That's awesome.
Or the, Caramel Delights. But so we got those, kind of milkshakes going that are infused with Girl Scout cookies, but still have an international theme. It's like, okay, this one's Irish, this one's Scottish, whatever it may be. And so, we're donating $1 per milkshake. And of course, on Friday, the milkshake machine breaks. So I'm like losing it because it's like, oh, come on, man. And so I got called and they're like, oh, well, it's Easter weekend. So, we can't really do anything right now. But I think it's just this, it's like a $10 part. And I'm like, great, send it. They're like, we can't send it till Tuesday. So, of course, Friday night we come in and probably 50 people wanting milkshakes. People are coming in just for milkshakes. And I'm like, well, this is going to be fun as we go, but, we'll see you next week, right? Yeah. So, anyway, maybe don't come down tomorrow for milkshakes, but, come down Friday. We should have it ready to go. But yeah, so any of that kind of stuff, like we love being creative and these guys, doing the podcast on site, like we think that's going to be such a cool experience, because how often you get to walk into a restaurant and there's, a couple of cool dudes sitting there, like, doing their thing on the microphone and, I mean, you never know.
You never know.
Right?
There's this new nonprofit. I'll have to tell them to reach out. So it's therapy for goldfish.
Okay. I mean, trying to think. So are we trying to put the goldfish in the burritos? We might be crossing some lines here.
So one more time, where can people find you as we close? Do you have anything you wanted to add?
I do have a final thought after he's done.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Don't forget me.
So where to find us? Right on the corner of McCarran and Pyramid. We're in the Rayleigh Center, right on the corner location across from Starbucks. Parking's super easy. There's never an issue there. It's on your way to just about anywhere if you're going somewhere in Sparks. Really easy to go online to www.mf-int.com. You can order, schedule ahead for pickup if you're on your way home from work, grab and go. You can order for your lunch, for your office. We've got a deal right now that's already baked into the website. If you order any 10 entrees, you get 10% off out of the gate.
That's awesome.
So if you're ordering for your office, that's an easy thing to do, or a group or whatever it may be. But yeah, man, I think all in all, we're hopefully we're in the right space to catch people as they're getting home, going to work, whatever it may be.
Love it. All right, Chaz, what is your final thoughts for the day?
I knew all this because I've known you for a little bit now, and you've shared everything you've shared is awesome. But I am curious because usually we try to dive a little deeper about who you are behind, being the owner or manager. Tell us, how'd you get into this business? Like, what is the story? Because you're a cool dude. You ride a motorcycle, you do all that good stuff. But how did you get involved with all this?
So, man, in my 20s, I was doing a lot, right? I felt like I had the world by the tail and was just going to follow it wherever it took me. I was doing private equity investments in Dallas, and it was on the board of 7 companies. I built a hotel in Virginia. We did real estate in Turks and Caicos, technology, towing companies, hospice care, actually, which was,
really?
We did end of life hospice, and there was a funeral planning component. And anyway, so thought I could handle it all. And then I hit like 30 and I was just like, this is all too much, And so I just said, screw it. I'm moving to Tahoe. And craft beer at the time was kind of starting to take off in the, kind of 2008-9 time frame. Wow. And, I've been coming to Tahoe for years, 20 years as a family. It was like kind of our spot. My dad always wanted to come too. And so, it was always one of those, if I ever get the chance to live in Tahoe, I'm going to live in Tahoe. And so I said, you know what? Screw it. So I packed up everything, left Dallas. I had no location picked out. I rented a house sight unseen and moved up there and said, I'm going to open a craft beer bar. And so, I ended up, long story short, not having anything I thought I was going to have to be able to open this craft beer bar. Went to Home Depot, bought the supplies, built the bar ourselves. And then 11 months later, we had another location in Truckee. 11 months later, we had another one in Reno. And then for a little while, we had actually one in Virginia City for a couple of years. But, all in all, the idea kind of morphed over time. And, like any business, it sheds off its owner. And so I was super into craft beer, and that was like kind of the focus, and everything was rolling. We were launching brands, and it was a blast. And, a few years ago, I quit drinking, and I'm like, okay, well, this isn't quite as exciting when you're not participating in your business, but then that's when I'd met Jason. And so, the food then kind of came to the forefront, and it was like, okay, we can get into this food. This is fun. This is, is something I can get behind, because I feel like we're doing something of value. We're making something, I can't stand when, you go into a restaurant and the food you get is literally like out of a bag, put in the microwave and dumped on a plate. Like, I won't name names, but, at the same but it happens more often than you think. Right. And so, trying to hold our line with our principles, was kind of the hardest thing, but, what we're doing now, I think, is probably the evolution of 10 years of experience, learning, talking to customers and feeling, and also ourselves. Like, so everything you eat there, that's Jason's heart and soul, in each of those dishes. He
really does put his love into it.
And then from the marketing and nonprofit side, we're both on board with that, and it's one of those things where that's our heart and soul now. Is like how can we do more of this? How can we help more? And at some point, I hope that it's meaningful and impactful to everybody involved.
Yeah, that's amazing. That was cool.
That's great.
I've always wondered. I was like, how'd you get into this?
Well, there's some new info for you today, right?
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the show. We're really looking forward to the event. Please, guys, let's pack out the restaurant. Let's make sure there's people there.
The house.
And if you want a shout out on the Community Cares podcast, let us know. It will be live. We haven't done a live one in a while, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Talk politics.
No. and so, but we'll try to be live throughout the day, on and off. Probably do some segments, some never before seen footage kind of stuff, some interviews, and talk about how we can further help the community. Hey, thank you guys. If you want to learn more about Good Shepherd's Clothes Closet, please visit getclothes.org. And you can find out all the information you need to know about Good Shepherd. You can give financially, you can give time, you can also give clothing here at our location at 540 Greenberry Drive.
And I'm going to tack on to you real quick because I think it's freaking cool that they're giving the clothes away, right? Every other place, we donate anything we're not using wherever we can, but it all ends up somewhere that somebody's still got to buy it. And I think the cause here is so cool because, if you can't afford clothes, you can't afford clothes.
Absolutely.
So,
you're right. Yeah.
give them the clothes. That's the whole point, right? So I think this is just such a neat concept, and I think it probably has just a huge impact on a lot of families' lives. I mean, the few times I've just been in the shop here with Dave, I mean, the people that are out there, they're shopping, they're fine, and the clothes are legit. It's not like you're walking out with rags and, I mean, it's
dignified shopping experience.
Absolutely, right? I mean, you feel like you're in the store, and so all in all, I think you guys, awesome what you guys are doing. Love the cause and happy to support.
Thank you, brother. Yeah.
Thank you. We help over 800 people a month. No matter what, we're asking you to come alongside and help one. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, guys.